You know that moment in a fight when you realize you've made a terrible mistake? Officer Dixon is having that moment right now. 2 minutes ago, he walked into the cell block D interrogation room feeling pretty good about himself. Easy job today. Rough up some corporate criminal, get her to cough up some computer codes for Victor Stone's people, collect his bonus, maybe grab drinks after shift. The prisoner, this black woman named Jasmine Carter, looked tired, beaten, compliant. The chains on her wrists rattled when the guards shoved her into the chair. Perfect. They underestimated her. That was their first mistake. If you're watching this already, please hit subscribe. This story's got 8 more skins of fights, twists, and takedowns, and I guarantee you'll want to see how it ends. Plus, I've got more stories like this coming every week. Now Dixon's on the floor with a broken nose, those same chains wrapped around his arm in ways arms aren't supposed to bend, and he's starting to understand that he's severely miscalculated. Harris is choking on his own blood, Pete's unconscious against the wall, and Jasmine Carter is standing in the center of the room, breathing steady, eyes sharp, looking less like a prisoner and more like exactly what she is. A United States Marine who spent 3 years in combat zones, learning very efficient ways to hurt people. "Yo, Dixon!" Tommy Washington's voice booms from a nearby cell, laughing. "Did nobody tell you? That's Captain Carter. She's not some tech consultant. She's a goddamn warrior." The alarm finally triggers. Boots thunder in the hallway. More guards coming, but Jasmine doesn't look worried. If anything, she looks ready. Like this was always part of the plan. See, that's the thing about Greystone Detention Center. Warden Garrett thinks he's running a prison. Victor Stone thinks he's hired muscle to extract billion-dollar solar technology codes. The corrupt guards think they're in control. They're about to learn different, but first you need to understand how we got here. How a Marine veteran ended up wrongfully imprisoned. How clean energy codes became worth killing for. How one woman's refusal to break became a revolution. 3 weeks ago, everything changed. Jasmine Carter had been days from presenting Solar Core Technologies breakthrough codes. Clean energy that could revolutionize the grid, destroy oil monopolies. Then Victor Stone's people came, planted evidence, corporate espionage charges. Military credentials meant nothing against fabricated proof. Now she sat chained to a metal chair in Cell Block D's interrogation room, 3 guards circling like sharks. Officer Dixon leaned close, breath reeking of coffee and arrogance. "We know about the codes, sweetheart. Billions of dollars worth. Stone just wants what's his." Jasmine stared straight ahead, Marine discipline locked tight. "Playing tough?" Dixon circled behind her. "Your friends aren't. Tommy Washington's scheduled for cage fights against Red King's gang members. Sarah Mitchell's in solitary. Miguel Rodriguez." He let the threat hang. He slapped photos on the table. Her team, each in their cells. Tommy giving his subtle, defiant stare. Sarah's fear barely contained. Miguel's poker face. "Stone says you memorize code beta." Dixon's voice hardened. "Make this easy." Jasmine's mind calculated. 3 guards, 1 door, chains could become weapons, cameras in corners. Not yet. Wait for the right moment. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said quietly. Dixon's jaw tightened. He nodded to Harris, a left-handed brute favoring his right knee. "Prep the equipment." Pete moved to the corner, taser on his right hip, exactly where she'd noted it. Jasmine's 3 combat tours had taught her patience. Her team had planned for this. Fake codes, hidden allies, contingencies. Code Beta was safe in her mind. Code Gamma with Tommy. Code Alpha with Derek Hayes on the outside. She let her shoulders slump slightly, feeding their confidence. "Wait," she whispered. Maybe we can talk." Dixon smiled like a predator scenting blood. Good, Jasmine thought. Let them think they're winning. Jasmine let her shoulders slump, eyes dropping to the concrete floor. Dixon leaned in, smelling victory. Smart girl, he said. Now the codes. She spoke soft, forcing him closer in the Evan X, K92 Delta 8 Sierra. Dixon's eyes lit up. He grabbed his phone, barking into it. Stone, got the sequence. Yeah, she broke. Told you she would. Harris and Pete exchanged high fives. Amateurs. While they celebrated, Jasmine's combat-trained eyes cataloged everything. Harris favored his left knee, old injury, probably ACL. Pete kept his taser on his right hip, easy grab. Dixon had turned his back, overconfident. Rookie mistake. From somewhere in cell block D, Tommy Washington's voice drifted through the vents, singing an old Marine cadence. Mama, Mama, can't you see? The signal, he was ready. The phone conversation shifted. Stone's tech team was running verification. Dixon's face slowly hardened as he listened. What do you mean it doesn't match? Run it again. Jasmine kept her expression neutral, but inside she smiled. 3 sets of fake codes created specifically for scenarios like this. Code Alpha, the one she'd just given, was pure gibberish. Code Beta, the real sequence, lived safely in her memory. Code Gamma was with Tommy, and Code Alpha's activation key, hidden with Derek Hayes on the outside. Dixon ended the call, jaw clenched. He walked slowly toward her, eyes cold. You think you're smart? He nodded to Harris and Pete. Make her regret that. Jasmine's breathing slowed, controlled. She shifted her weight, chains repositioning almost imperceptibly. Balance centered, every muscle coiled, ready, now or never. As Harris reached for his taser, Jasmine's eyes went cold, not with fear, but with the lethal calculation of a Marine combat expert who'd just been handed her opening. Dixon's hand shot toward Jasmine's face. She moved. The chains became extensions of her body. She whipped them around his wrist, yanked hard, and hyperextended his elbow with a sickening crack. Using his forward momentum, she slammed his face into the metal table. Blood sprayed across stainless steel. Harris lunged for his taser. Jasmine's chain struck his throat like a whip. He dropped, choking, clawing at his neck. Pete grabbed her from behind. Wrong move. She executed a perfect hip throw, sending 200 pounds of corrupt guard crashing into the wall. His head bounced off concrete. The cell block erupted. Prisoners pressed against bars, watching their abuser become the abused. That's my captain! Tommy Washington's voice boomed from the cell. Jasmine stood center room, breathing controlled, chains dangling like serpents ready to strike. Every movement was calculated precision. 3 tours in Fallujah hadn't taught her to brawl. They'd taught her to win. Dixon struggled up, nose shattered, blood streaming. He pulled his baton with his good arm. She closed the distance. Joint lock. Disarm. The baton became hers. Pete was recovering. She swung hard. He went down again. Harris crawled toward the panic button, desperate. Jasmine's boot caught his ribs, sent him sprawling into Dixon's legs. Under 2 minutes, 3 guards incapacitated. The prisoners banged bars in thunderous rhythm, creating a war drum that shook the block. The alarm finally shrieked. Reinforcements coming. Jasmine checked the corners. Cameras had recorded everything. Perfect. She positioned herself in a defensive stance, chains ready, breathing steady. Stage 2, Captain! Tommy's voice cut through the chaos. She rolled her shoulders, centered her weight. The interrogation was over. Now came the reckoning. The Marine warrior they tried to break had just declared war on Greystone Detention Center. The reinforcements arrived like a tactical unit, 12 guards in riot gear, batons drawn. Leading them was Warden Paul Garrett, his face twisted with barely controlled rage, and beside him, a man in an expensive suit. Agent Miller, federal badge glinting at his hip. Garrett surveyed the carnage, Dixon whimpering, cradling his shattered arm, Harris still gasping for air, Pete slumped unconscious against the wall, and Jasmine, standing calm in the center, chains hanging loose like trophy kills. "You stupid," Garrett started, then caught himself, not at the brutality his guards had inflicted, at the mess. Agent Miller circled Jasmine like a shark. "Prisoner attacks staff unprovoked. That's how we write this." "Lies!" Tommy Washington's voice boomed from his cell. "We saw everything. They tortured her first." Other inmates erupted, banging bars, shouting truth. The sound thundered through cell block D. Garrett's eyes flicked to the camera in the corner. His face paled. "Those were supposed to be disabled." Jasmine's voice cut through the chaos. "They're not, and that footage is already uploaded." From Sarah Mitchell's cell came a faint electronic beep. The tech specialist held up a jury-rigged transmitter. Smiling grimly, Miller's hand moved to his weapon. "Then we eliminate the evidence, all of it." "Try it," Jasmine said quietly. "Captain Reynolds' task force is already outside. You move on us, they storm this place." The bluff worked. Miller hesitated. That's when Tommy Washington's cell erupted in flames. He'd ignited his mattress with smuggled matches. Within seconds, other inmates followed suit. Coordinated chaos. Smoke billowed. Alarms screamed. Guards panicked. Jasmine dropped into a crouch, using the confusion to snap her remaining chain restraints against the metal chair leg. They broke free. Through the smoke, she caught Tommy's eye. Stage 2 had begun. Smoke billowed through cell block D as Jasmine broke free from her restraints. Through the gray haze, shadows moved with predatory purpose. "Well, well," Tyrell Hawk Johnson emerged, flanked by 6 Red Kings members. His prison tattoos couldn't hide the military bearing beneath. "The famous Marine." Big Mike, Hawk's lieutenant, cracked his knuckles. "Stone paid us good money to keep order, but those codes, worth way more." Jasmine shifted her stance, chains still wrapped around her fists. "Get out of my way." Big Mike lunged. Jasmine sidestepped, using an overhead pipe to swing her body around, both feet connecting with his chest. He crashed into a metal cart. 2 more gang members rushed her. She ducked under a wild punch, drove her elbow into one solar plexus, then swept the other's legs with her chain. "Impressive." Hawk watched, arms crossed. "Former Force Recon, right?" "Me too. Fallujah, 08. Through the chaos, Tommy Washington's voice boomed. Metal screeched as he wrenched his damaged cell door completely off. "Captain!" "About time." "Old Bear," Jasmine fought toward him. They met mid-quarter, immediately moving back-to-back through the smoke. Tommy's massive frame bulldozed through 2 Red Kings while Jasmine disarmed a third. "Sarah and Miguel?" she asked. "C-Wing?" "Past Hawk's position." Hawk blocked their path, studying them with tactical precision. "Stone's bearing that technology. I sell blood independently, at least it gets used. Clean energy changes everything." "It goes to legitimate investors," Jasmine said. "Or nowhere." "Then we have a prob." Ray Bird Wilson, scarred and furious, tackled Hawk from behind. "Thought you could snitch me out, Terrell." Old gang grudges erupted into violence. Jasmine grabbed Tommy's arm. "Now!" They sprinted through the chaos towards C-Wing. Agent Miller's tactical team blocked the corridor ahead, weapons raised. Tommy grinned. "Never easy, is it?" "Never." Gunfire erupted outside. Different caliber, disciplined patterns. Captain James Reynolds breached the main gates with federal warrants and tactical units. "This is Reynolds. Stand down immediately." Through the smoke, Lisa Chen's news crew followed, cameras broadcasting live. Warden Garrett stumbled into view, blood on his uniform. "Captain, thank God. These prisoners rioted." "Save it." Reynolds showed him the warrant. "Greystone's been under investigation for months. You're done." Derek Hayes emerged from the maintenance corridor, evidence folders in hand, payment records, torture authorizations, Stone's entire operation. Garrett's face drained of color. Agent Miller stepped forward, flashing federal credentials. This is a federal matter now, Captain. Stand aside. Reynolds didn't budge. Your jurisdiction ends where corruption begins. The standoff froze as Jasmine's team fought through the industrial section. Sarah Mitchell worked her smuggled tablet frantically. Uploading everything to cloud servers, even if we don't make it. We're making it, Miguel said, covering their rear. Outside, Rotor Wash announced Victor Stone's helicopter landing in the yard. The billionaire emerged with private military contractors, heavily armed professionals, who made Miller's team look like mall security. Reynolds' officers formed defensive positions. Miller's corrupt agents flanked opposite. Stone's mercenaries advanced methodically. 3 armies converging on one target. Stone's voice boomed through a megaphone. Ms. Carter, let's be reasonable. The codes for your team's safety, simple transaction. Jasmine appeared at a broken window, chains finally removed, Marine combat stance. Come get them yourself. Stone's expression darkened. He gestured to his contractors. Secure all hostile forces, retrieve the asset, lethal force authorized. The prison yard transformed into a battlefield. Tommy checked his appropriated guard weapon. Stage 3, Captain? Jasmine assessed the converging chaos. Stage 3. The prison yard erupted into hell. Reynolds' task force exchanged fire with Stone's mercenaries across the concrete expanse. Miller's corrupt agents moved through the chaos like vultures, targeting both sides. Jasmine sprinted toward Reynolds' position, her team tight behind her. Move, move, Miguel shouted, dragging Sarah between abandoned guard towers. Tommy provided covering fire until a mercenary's round caught his shoulder. He stumbled, blood spreading across his prison shirt. Old Bear! Jasmine dove back, hauling him up. I'm good, Captain. Keep moving. Tyrell Hawk emerged from the smoke with 4 Red Kings members, blocking their path to safety. End of the line, Marine. Jasmine shoved Sarah toward Miguel. Get Tommy to Reynolds now. The fight was brutal. Hawk had military training, matching her strike for strike. She felt ribs crack under his elbow, tasted blood. But she'd survived worse. A spinning kick caught Hawk's knee. He dropped. Jasmine's final blow left him unconscious against the fence. Stone's helicopter circled overhead, its mounted gun tracking them. The warehouse wall exploded in concrete chunks as rounds tore through it. Lisa Chen's camera captured everything, broadcast live to millions. Derek tackled Miller as the corrupt agent aimed at Jasmine's back. They crashed into burning debris. We're trapped, Miguel shouted from behind an overturned vehicle, Tommy bleeding against him. Sarah's voice cut through the gunfire. It doesn't matter anymore. The real code's uploaded to FBI servers an hour ago. Stone's executives are already being arrested. Silence rippled across the battlefield. Stone's voice boomed through the helicopter speaker, raw with fury. Then you're worthless alive. The fuel depot detonated. Fire consumed the eastern wall, the shockwave throwing everyone to the ground. Through the flames, a hole gaped in the fence. Freedom. Jasmine grabbed Tommy's arm, hauling him through the breach. Miguel supported his other side while Sarah ran ahead. Clearing debris. Behind them, Reynolds' forces surged forward. Securing the perimeter. Victor Stone's helicopter banked hard, trying to escape. FBI choppers descended from the dawn sky, boxing him in. Through the smoke, Jasmine watched it force down, Stone screaming orders that no one would follow anymore. Agent Miller bolted toward the remaining vehicles. Captain Reynolds tackled him personally, driving him into the gravel. You're done. Warden Garrett sat in the yard's center, surrounded by his own guards, now Reynolds prisoners. His empire of cruelty reduced to handcuffs and Miranda rights. Lisa Chen's camera crew captured everything. The world had watched corruption burn in real time. At the secure perimeter, medics treated Tommy's shoulder wound. "Harder to kill than I look," he joked, wincing. Sarah confirmed the transmission. Clean energy investors secured the codes through proper FBI channels. Solar Core goes public next month. Miguel exhaled hard. "We actually did it." Jasmine watched the sunrise paint Houston's skyline gold. "We fought for something bigger than ourselves." 3 months later, Jasmine stood before the Congressional Committee, Marine dress uniform pristine, medals catching camera lights. Behind her sat the newly appointed Task Force on Private Prison Reform. Victor Stone faced federal racketeering charges. Greystone was demolished. Its prisoners' cases, all reviewed, many freed. Tommy worked with veterans advocacy groups. Sarah and Miguel helped implement solar core technology nationwide, clean energy flowing where oil corporations tried to bury it. Derek Hayes received a commendation for his undercover work, though he preferred staying out of headlines. At the Clean Energy Summit, Jasmine delivered the keynote. Lisa Chen's camera found her face as she spoke the final words. "One person standing against corruption can change everything. You just have to refuse to break." The audience rose, not for a hero, for a Marine who kept her oath. As Jasmine left the stage, her phone vibrated. Unknown number. The message made her blood run cold. "Impressive speech, Captain. But Stone was just one head of the Hydra. We have your sister. Check your email for proof of life. You have 72 hours before we move to the next phase. Come alone or she dies." The consortium. Want to know what happens next? Subscribe for Scene 2 of Codename Crimson Tide. Jasmine Carter returns in an international conspiracy that makes Greystone look like a warm-up. Hit subscribe button now.